It's 5 o'clock in Pirate Country, and it's time to get pumped up with the P-Man. Hit the door and hit the road. 94.3 The Game is going to get you home, and the P-Man's not holding back.
Yes! Yes! Pirates win! Pirates win!
Bring on the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Holy mackerel! Oh, my goodness!
The flagship station of the ECU Pirates.
All right, the top sports show in Greenville. Opening act action here today. And I don't know what it was like down there for you, Pilk, but it had not gotten cold here until like the last little bit. It was like 50-something down here at the Working Man's Beach today. It took a while for the cold air to start to filter in, what I'm saying.
Oh, we had the cold air this morning here. It's now that,
No, I mean, it was, it was cold overnight, but it just, where it's kind of stayed cold.
Yeah.
West of here in G Vegas.
Yeah, no, it's
case of the Working
when I
Man's
woke
Beach.
up this morning, it was still cold from overnight. And it's finally like the warm air is kind of moving in. I think all the cold air is pushed to you. About 1:30, 2 o'clock, it started warming up, and now I think we're at our peak here.
I got you. Well, welcome in. We got a nice show for you here today. Great to have you with us. I'm along. Pilk is along. We will wrap up the week tomorrow at our normal time of 5 o'clock. By the way, if I have to go to anything with the readers today, Pilk, I'm going to have to go with the sunglasses. I don't know where my glasses are. So the prescription shades, if we have to read anything really fine and specific today.
Well, good thing we don't have sound today, so not a cut sheet. We got our Coach Prime sound bite, but I didn't email you anything.
Yeah, good thing you brought that up. There's also a couple things with Bill Belichick that have come out just today, in fact. So there's a lot to get to there. Reminder that we're going to have Pirate basketball for you this weekend. ECU will be traveling to take on Wichita State. That is a 7 o'clock Eastern tip. Is that right, Pilk?
That's what they tell me.
Okay. 6:30 airtime on 94.3 The Game and 107.9 WNCT. Then the Pirates are coming back that night. A little different from what we understood a week ago. And then they're going to be coming back and then Monday leaving to fly to Tulsa, where they'll play Tuesday night and then come back. So that's good. They get a couple charter flights. I am a little surprised they're not staying just given the nature of everything, but I guess they just felt better about going back and forth and having a little extra time on the ground here in Greenville. Such is life in the American. Do we want to do the Coach Prime thing first, or we want to do the Belichick stuff first? What are you feeling this morning or today?
I say since Coach Prime, it sounds like he doesn't want the Dallas job. That can lead us into Belichick, so maybe we start with Prime.
All right, I like that idea. Yeah. So we've been a little up and down with Coach Prime here. A little bit of a love affair with Coach Prime initially. I might have bought in a little bit on the hype, but I kind of like the hype sometimes. And then all of the stuff this summer made it seem like it was a dumpster fire. He was the Penny Hardaway of college football, it seemed like. But Coach Prime, after a shaky start, because they lost like their first game, didn't they, Pilk?
Their first game this year, they beat North Dakota State.
Barely beat North Dakota State.
Yeah.
And then somebody beat them. Wasn't it Nebraska that beat them early? The Fighting Matt Rules beat them early?
Yeah. Stupid corn people.
And then the idea seemed to be it's all disintegrating in front of it. But then they reeled off, and for a while there was talk they were going to be in the college football playoff. Well, for all of the bravado and all of the things about Coach Prime that seem to have irritated and rubbed people the wrong way, Coach Prime has really said something, like he's attributed success to the Lord. I heard him tell a great story about when he found God. It was on a podcast. I mean, he's just, I think there is a genuine side to Dion. It doesn't look like he's going to get the Cowboys job. And I'm fine with that. I kind of like him being in college football. because he's running it like a business. And no more than this. So this is a clip from, is this from like the show, like a behind-the-scenes show they're doing on Colorado Football Pilk, or did we figure out where the clip was from exactly?
I'm not 100% sure. I mean, it's clear he's addressing the team, obviously. They're in the team meeting room. But, yeah, I don't know if this was a show or just somebody was videoing or exactly what the deal is.
So we'll set the scene for you. I guess this was a meeting that he was having, and he was talking about NIL. There's a coach on staff. He identifies the coach here. You know, basically Deion's not handling the NIL. He's just there to coach ball, get the guys ready to play at the next level and win games at Colorado. Well, seniors, Pilk, did you ever have senioritis? I did in high school really, really bad. I kind of did in college, too. At that point, I'd gotten all of my hours in my degree to graduate. If I were enterprising and smart, I would have double majored in something.
Yeah.
And taken like 12 hours in the other, and had a double major and graduated ECU in 4 years with a double major. But I was more interested in other things and didn't want to work that hard. So I loaded up with a bunch of freshman elective classes, unbeknownst to me, that in the freshman elective classes, you had some teachers that started to take that stuff really, they wanted you there. Because they were holding you to the standard of the freshmen.
Yeah.
You know, because they have very strict attendance policies in your freshman classes because they want to establish you in a pattern where you'll go to class.
Yeah.
And I was missing class because, I didn't need the class. I just needed the hours. And these teachers were going to deduct points if you miss another class. It's like I have a job interview. And they didn't understand that. I had this terrible art teacher who smelled of, what is it, incense, I guess. But it wasn't incense. It was something. It was so bad. She had a terrible haircut. But anyway, it was just an awful experience.
Yeah, so high school, I got it a little bit second semester, you know, like my AP class and stuff. I still cared because I wanted to pass the AP exams, which I didn't. But so high school got it a little bit. College, heck yeah, I got it because I was taking my classes from my bedroom because of stupid COVID.
Yeah.
The Dems wouldn't let us go to class in person. And then if you went the 2 weeks we did go to class, it was like if you take your mask off, you'll be shot on sight. You know, it was rough. And then, so, yeah, once that happened, I was like, hell with this.
That's
this ain't
probably
even real
a little more – that sounds a little more you were just over it.
Yeah, I was over the BS.
Yeah, that's a little – but so anyway, senioritis, where you don't want to do anything. You've already done the work. The hay's in the barn, as they say.
Yeah.
Well, you'll see this, and this really happened a lot in the one-and-done eras in basketball. Guys would go to class their first semester so they could stay eligible. And then when they knew they were going to the NBA, they quit going to class in the second semester. They just didn't show up. And this is Coach Prime addressing the seniors on the Colorado team regarding NIL and going to class. I love this. Listen.
Leaders, of course, they sit in the front, not in the back. Seniors, I want you to listen to this. This is evident. Like Coach Ray don't say, I don't get involved in that, what y'all are earning or what you're making. Well, quit playing with your hair. You're a grown man. Don't play with your hair while you're talking to another man. Okay, I don't get involved with what you make and whatever. But when you stop going to class, now you're affecting me. So we're going to affect your check. When you stop going to class and I see a multitude of F's and D's up, we're going to affect your check. Do we understand that?
There you go.
Play the part where he tells the guy to quit playing with his hair.
It's his hat. I think it's right. I think it's.
No, he said his hair.
Man, don't play with your hair while you talking to.
No, it's hat. Listen.
You're a grown man. Don't play with your hair while you talking to another man.
Okay. A hat?
I don't get involved.
I can't tell.
It's either hat or hair.
Either way.
He doesn't want to play with his hair. He's a grown man. That's so good. That whole clip is just so fantastic.
The thing
so
is,
I'm back on the Coach Prime bandwagon.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, you know, and he says while you're talking to another man, like, it's not only is he trying to hold them accountable for grades, but it's a respect thing too, right? And that's when you go back to the character of Deion, you know, the fact that he thanks God for his success. Like, this proves, you know what, don't like the whole way he runs his football program, don't like him as a football coach, whatever. Who am I to tell you who to like in that standpoint? But as a man, You know, he's
You got
teaching
to give
these
him. Look,
young
you
men
got to
good
give him
character.
credit there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to give him credit. I mean, I love that. You don't go to class. You have a multitude of D's and F's. We're going to affect your NIL money. That's awesome. You think other people in other places have the guts to do that?
I mean, not at a school, not at a normal school. You know, maybe Stanford. You know, where
Well, yeah.
Vanderbilt, Northwestern, but not at a public school. No.
I mean, that's what you got to love about Dion is he's well-heeled financially.
Yeah.
Doesn't need the paycheck. He's doing it because he loves doing it. And he's just saying, guys, if you're not going to go to class, the heck with it. We're going to take your money. And if somebody were to complain and sniffle and whine and go to the AD, and the AD decided, well, I mean, no other coach would do that because they'd be afraid the player was going to leave.
Yeah.
That's so good. That really is so good. And it's and that when you talk about these guys, we're treating them as pros. That is the pro mentality that should be coming forth then in all of this. If we're going to have NIL and we're going to pay people, that is the mentality we should have. There is accountability for your actions. I mean, there are things that Pilk and I have to do in our day-to-day with this company because we have agreed to take money from this company in exchange for our services.
Yeah.
You know, that's just the way it is.
That could be the one perk to paying these players is like some of the stuff that just doesn't fly in the pros has always flown in college. I mean, take it the other night, you know, I know this is hockey, but Braden Point, you had to sit out because he missed a team meeting. I remember one year Cam Newton didn't wear a tie on the plane, and they didn't start him. They started Derek Anderson for a drive. Cam Newton didn't wear a tie. You can do that to pro grown men. In the past, you haven't been able to do that to college athletes. I think you can now.
Well, that's what I mean. If it seems like the lessons we're teaching with these guys being pros now are not the good things. They're the excess things because there's still a college mentality.
Yeah.
And I understand the Dion thing now is he's bringing the pro side to the game, not paying the players. That's being done anyway. It's just there's accountability for your actions at the next level. The NFL is not a DEI operation. You have to earn your keep in that deal. You have to be able to perform in that deal. Now, are there different levels of stuff that's allowed? I saw a great clip with Jerry Johnson talking about a guy that was a bench warmer that fell asleep during a special teams film session, and he cut the guy, and the guy never played another down of football. And somebody asked him, if Troy Aikman had fallen asleep, what would you have done? He said, well, I'd have gone back there and said, hey, Troy, wake up. I mean,
yeah. But like you say, you know, the difference is you can explain to the fans why you cut the special teams guy.
Right,
no,
I
to
know,
explain to the fans. Cut a three-time Super Bowl champion quarterback.
Right, there's accountability, but if you perform, there's leeway.
Yeah.
But in other words,
Troy wouldn't have fell asleep, though.
Right. If these seniors aren't going to class, but they're making C's or B's, or they're doing enough to get through, then he's probably not going to cut your money. I just, that whole thing is great. And when he tells the guy to quit playing with his hair or playing with his hat, that's awesome. It's one of the great cuts. Quit playing with your hat when you're talking to him. That's so good. So good. This leads us to the other part of this whole thing being a business. Bill Belichick has not signed a contract with North Carolina. So Belichick, as we know, went to North Carolina. It was announced in December. You know, there's connections to the Raiders. That has come up. The Cowboys now appear to be perhaps a little enamored with Belichick. A $10 million buyout if you're going to get him from North Carolina. You need to pay the university $10 million. Jerry Jones will have no problem paying the university $10 million if he wants Belichick. You know, the Raiders probably wouldn't either, although they'd probably want to wait till June 2nd so they can only pay $1 million. But apparently, according to CBS Sports' Jonathan Jones, who's covered the Panthers, you know of him, Pilk, obviously, because of his time covering the Panthers. I mean, he's really a preeminent and pretty good NFL reporter. He says that there's a gray area that now exists with regards to the buyout. Belichick has not signed an official contract with UNC. Instead, Belichick is working at Chapel Hill after agreeing to a term sheet on December 11th. The school has confirmed this, according to Jones. The term sheet outlines Belichick's $10 million per year salary and would set up it would be set to precede a contract at some point, the term sheet. It's not too uncommon at the college level for coaches to begin working without a fully signed deal, but Jones adds a notable wrinkle here by indicating the term sheet Belichick inked is not binding. So this would introduce the potential complication if the buyout, $10 million before June 1st, $1 million after that date comes into play. A report surfaced indicating the North Carolina athletic director and ACC commissioner were uneasy about Belichick's status earlier in the week. Jones has also previously reported NFL teams have not been intimidated by the $10 million buyout number. We didn't think they would be. The reporter adds that some within the UNC community are a bit nervous related to the component of Belichick's agreement. Now, there is a lot of hand-wringing from our Carolina friends right now. A lot of hand-wringing. For a lot of reasons. But now, how would he leave? Why would he leave the University of North Carolina, the flagship? It's a business. You wanted to be a big boy in big boy football, semi-pro, pro football. Them's the breaks. Them's the breaks. And because you haven't buttoned up your prize catch, be very interesting. I still contend he will not coach it down in Chapel Hill. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But the further we get down the road from this thing, from all the hoopla in December and the giggly pants reporting from a lot of those in the Triangle sports media and beyond in this state, the more this thing is not looking like it's going to happen.
I think if the Cowboys and Raiders fill their head coaching spots, I think we can almost
He'll sign the contract.
guarantee
He'll sign the contract.
He'll sign the contract. Yeah. But yeah, until those two are filled, I mean, now the one thing would be worried, him and Jerry Jones. Bill likes to have complete
full control. Full control. Yeah.
Now, if Jerry Jones was going to get off his high horse for anybody, it would be Bill. He didn't do it with Landry. He didn't do it with Johnson. Didn't do it with Parcells. None of the other guys who've been there since have really had the backbone, I think, to even try and stand up to him. Barry Switzer, Wade Phillips, Jason Garrett.
They're just all happy to be there.
But those guys stood up, and those guys got fired. I think Bill, because him coming in knowing Bill's going to stand up to him, would be the one way to keep. You know, when he inherited Landry, he hired Jimmy, but at the time Jimmy was not Jimmy.
Right.
You know, Parcells, he probably knew it, but Parcells didn't last long. I think it was 03 to 06. Don't quote me.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, that was ill-fated. I know T-Cop played for him, but I mean, that was ill-fated at best.
Yeah. This is different. This is a lot different.
If you want to win a world championship before you've totally lost your marbles, or you have gotten to the point where you're no longer in earthly body, and you're him, and this is the route you go, you do turn it over to Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
Now, I also think this whole thing with Belichick, he had no way of knowing what was going to come open or who was going. I mean, he maybe suspected. You probably knew what was going to happen with the Raiders. There was a lot of obvious conjecture of what was going to happen with McCarthy and the Cowboys this year and all of that. But you have no way of knowing because, I mean, McCarthy just till the other day was still the coach.
Yeah.
I mean, they blocked him interviewing with the Bears for crying. Dallas did. So what I'm saying is, he wasn't holding out for anything specific, I don't think. But you're working on the term sheet, and you can delay in signing the actual contract until this hiring cycle ends. And then you're golden for next year if you do coach games this year. and you only got $1 million buyout after that, which is nothing. You might buy yourself out at that point. But I do believe this is for him to set up his kid to be a head coach.
Yeah.
That's what I really believe this whole thing, and not the coach in waiting. I mean, sooner than we realize.
So here's hypothetical, Patrick. Do you think there is a scenario where he signs the contract because that his kid being the coach is in that contract, and then the next day Jerry Jones pays 10 and boom, he's gone? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I mean, if those are the respective end games, Jerry Jones wants him in Dallas as the head coach, and and that is a term of the contract of his kid being the head coach, is that he has to have signed the contract. But I mean, boy, what a mess they've got on their hands at Chapel Hill if Belichick flees.
Yeah, I mean,
which he's going to do.
I think he would sign it first, then they would shake hands right after, not before, but after, and he would have the $10 million check in his hand and say, "And this is for Mr. Jones."
Yeah.
Bye. It would last
Very
2 seconds.
interesting. Yeah. This is really interesting stuff. There's a lot of palace intrigue here. I don't foresee this thing being going that great in Chapel Hill either. You know?
No.
Even if he does stay, this isn't going to be as.
He needs young coordinators who've been in the college game who actually deal with the kids, and he needs to make.
Which, I mean, his son has.
Yeah.
His son has been for now 1 year, but he's been a defensive coordinator.
Yeah. His decisions need to be, it's 4th down, what are we going to do?
Right. And just the operational things.
Yeah. Making phone calls like Prime does. Hey, I'm Coach Belichick. You should come play for me. Here's $4 million. Okay.
All right, let's hit a break. We are here on this Thursday, every Thursday at 4 through the Super Bowl. We've got Brian North won a big award yesterday from the State Broadcasters Association. Congratulations to Mark and Laura from the Morning Rush on 107.9. They also won again for the Radio Show of the Year. 5th time they've won that. Is Miller going to be with us tomorrow? Did we get that worked out?
He is. He's going to talk about his award. We're going to talk a little Eagles football in the snow, it sounds like, and a little holding my beer.
Brian Mull will be with us tomorrow, too. But today it's Brian North on the Patrick Johnson Show. Stay tuned.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast. Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern living's best small town.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful, and more human. About creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast. Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern Living's best small town.
Download the new IBX Media app now and get the show for your ears and eyes.
Doesn't it look great on me?
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
The North Carolina Association of Broadcasters honored our colleague Mark Miller and also Laura Smith, our colleagues, with the Morning Show and Morning Program of the Year award yesterday. That's essentially what it is. I don't know the exact award, Pilk, but that's what it essentially is. I also got, with our spies there, they sent me a picture and a little recap of our friend Brian North from News Channel 12 won an award for a sports story he did there in New Bern. North, who hosts The Blitz and is a morning news anchor for News 12, WCTI, and Fox Eastern Carolina, is with us here on the Patrick Johnson Show. By the way, Fox will be airing the Super Bowl, so we're happy, North, to give you guys some promotion. I know you guys will need a little bit of that. So we'll promote that if you need us to. Just let us know, okay?
We are still trying to live down the 2008 Super Bowl that froze at halftime for the entire third
Pilk
quarter.
doesn't know this story.
Nothing happened.
Right. Pilk doesn't know this story. Pilk, you weren't even alive yet, maybe, at this.
Wait, when what happened?
We had just acquired the Fox News station, the local Fox station.
Yeah.
And we had launched our newscast, which that's when I made my move over to news, when I got stuck straddling the fence between news and sports, and have been there ever since. And we had just started a newscast, and we were broadcasting the Super Bowl. And at halftime, our signal froze with I can't remember the name of the performer, but somebody froze.
Tom Petty.
So all the bars.
It was Tom Petty for hours. Tom Petty was on the screen in a freeze frame about to strum his guitar during Running Down a Dream. Go ahead, North.
So this was the Super Bowl where the Patriots were undefeated, right? They're about to make history against Eli Manning and the Giants, and no one was able to watch the third quarter of this game. No one knew what was happening. Bars and restaurants in Jacksonville are calling around the area in Greenville, screaming at us because the signal is froze. We don't know what's going on. Our engineers are working hard. But so we missed the entire third quarter, which turned out to be nothing because it was the most boring Super Bowl ever. We were back on in time for David Tyree to make the helmet catch. But yes, we were persona non grata for a while there. Everybody ragged us, and still I hear about it. And that's been almost 20 years. And yes, the year we froze the Super Bowl.
Well, it's funny because that was now. If it happened, it would stink. But somebody would just cast it up on their phone, right? They would just be like, and I could log into the TV, cast it off my YouTube TV or my Direct TV now, whatever they've got, and it would be no problem. Also, that was probably the last decent halftime performer. Let's be honest. Ever since then, it's been bogus. That was the last time real music
Bruno
was played.
Mars. Yeah, I think Bruno Mars has been a pretty good performer.
I was there for that Super Bowl. That was okay.
Yeah, I think Bruno Mars has been good. He seems like a consummate performer.
Wait,
about
North, what? I knew North was a little bit of a high roller, but you've been to a Super Bowl, North?
Oh, he's been to several.
Both times the Panthers.
Yeah.
Oh.
In Super Bowl 37, I was there on the field. This is another great story. Everybody remembers the Super Bowl of 37 in Houston for the halftime show where Janet Jackson had the malfunction.
Wardrobe malfunction.
Yeah.
I was there, man. I'm right down there in the crowd with him. I got to shoot the game. I was there in the crowd during halftime because I didn't know I was supposed to leave, so I'm standing right in the middle with everybody. And I will tell you this: I never saw the wardrobe malfunction. And so after the game, when I'm trying to edit, I see all the newscasts, the local newscasts out in the TV compound, everybody talking about the wardrobe malfunction. I had no idea. But what I saw that no one else did was the streaker on the field to start the second half kickoff, which a guy during the halftime snuck down in the field wearing a referee's uniform and was on the field. No one spotted him. He was on the field for kickoff, stripped off his referee uniform and went running around in a thong with, Patrick, you remember this, back in the day, people would write on their bodies like gobethere.com. And so he had that on him.
Yeah.
And one of the Patriots special teams players gave him a shoulder, knocked him down, and then the security carried him off the field, hog-tied style with his, belly straight down, hanging out, and what little he was wearing to reveal everything to the world. But they didn't show that on TV, but I saw that. I got to see that. I didn't get to see the wardrobe malfunction.
They didn't show it on TV because they learned their lesson from about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
and then for the other, right. And then for the other Panthers Super Bowl, I was not on the field. I was in the stands that saw Beyonce and Bruno Mars and all that. But, yeah, that was in San Francisco, which was a great trip as well. So, yeah, I've done a few things before kids came along.
Yeah. North's kids, he's got 2 daughters, which proves that the good Lord our Creator has a sense of humor. That's good.
We all knew it was going to happen. We all knew it was going to happen.
Yeah. So what this award you won from the North Carolina Association of Broadcasters, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
What's one of the reasons we wanted to have you on today. So tell me a little bit about this story involving Parkinson's patients, as I understand it, in boxing.
Yeah. So there's been some pretty good studies that Parkinson's, which, by the way, boxing has always been blamed for boxers getting Parkinson's, head injuries.
Yeah.
But they found that the exercise of boxing helps people with Parkinson's. What I learned in this whole story is one of the greatest risks to people with Parkinson's is they can't keep their balance, they fall, and they suffer injuries. So doing these boxing classes help them with muscle strength, with balance control, to help them basically not fall as much, to help develop their muscles and just give them a better quality of life, help control the tremors a little bit more. And so it doesn't cure it, but it just gives them a little bit better quality of life. They feel better. They can function more on their own. One guy told me that, he needed help doing everything, but after taking these classes, these boxing classes at Rocksteady Boxing Gym in New Bern, that he was able to now do things he couldn't do before, button his shirt, put on his clothes, do stuff like that. So there's been studies that have shown. And so this Rocksteady Boxing started in a small little gym, and they've grown. They started with 6 people, and now they have more than 100 people participating in the program. And we did the story trying to get them a little publicity to help them raise some money to build a new facility, and they have now done that. They're getting ready to move into this new facility in April. So it was just a cool little story that combines sports with real life and stuff. And so I thought it was a nice story. I'd never put in for awards. I don't really care about awards. It's never been why I do it, but I've always said if you're going to give me one, I'll graciously accept it, but that's not why I do it. But the bosses put in for it, and they told me to show up to this luncheon and hang out with people like Big Hen, and so that's what I did. And I was
good food
for
up there.
Patrick. I was surprised you weren't there, Patrick.
I was not invited this time. They don't invite me to a whole lot. I went a few years ago when we won Station of the Year, which was my first time. I had come back, started working the morning show again because we can't get away from any of this stuff, North. So I'm like you. I'm straddling talk and sports on radio, and like you straddled news and sports for decades. Same thing here. But it's that's a fun event. But I was not invited to go, so I didn't go.
It was cool.
I would have loved to have gone. Mick's great. He's really good in that setting. He's really funny in that setting as the MC. He's really fun. Mick's a great guy. Well, congratulations to you. I understand your station also won some other like a community service thing for the radios you give out, the weather radios.
Yep, community involvement for our weather Wednesdays. We call it Weather Radio Wednesdays, where we go to hardware stores where they sell these weather radios. We have our meteorological team out there, and they help program them because they're not if you're like me, if I get a new cell phone, I just hand it right to my wife or my kids now and say, take care of it. So same thing. The meteorologists and our crack team will help program them so they're ready to go. And the things are great. It's like our cell phones now. When a warning comes through in your area, you get that warning immediately. These weather radios do the same thing for people who can't negotiate the phones as well. So, but yeah, we won an award for just community involvement.
Sounds like a gift for Mr. PK is what it sounds like to me. Of course, my granddad, 96, big Brian North fan, always saying, why is Brian North yelling when he's on television? All right.
Yeah, well,
let me ask you.
Radio, yelling at him.
All right. Let me ask you this. I mean, this is the late, great Skip Waters. How long has Skip not been with us?
10 years now, right? It was a little over 10 years. He died October 28, 2014.
Man, hard to believe, isn't it? Hard to believe.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Brian North is with us. Let's talk some sports and news du jour. When it comes to the world of sports, we were just talking about this Belichick thing. CBS Sports is saying that Belichick has not officially signed his deal with the school. He does have a kind of a memorandum of understanding that he's working off of, a term sheet or an offer sheet that he's working off of. But there is no signed contract yet. Now, Lombardi has come out in the last couple of hours here and said, oh, this is nothing. He's staying. He's not going anywhere. I still call hogwash. This whole thing feels very uneasy. And, it's interesting. It was actually put in print today in a story we read earlier in the show about, what people at UNC and the ACC have been saying, not necessarily out loud, but I've heard it, and I'm sure maybe you've heard these members. They're not so sure Belichick's going to be there in the fall. They wouldn't admit that publicly, but that's the real concern, not only from UNC, but from the ACC. So, look, this all may be a bunch of smoke and no fire, but it just seems like there's an awful lot of things that are kind of interesting, and at least it gives us something to talk about with that program, which is kind of fun, especially if there's uneasiness there.
Right, and Belichick probably won't talk about it, right? You do have that history of remember he was the Jets head coach for a day or an hour or whatever it was. Yeah,
that's true.
So it's not like that hasn't happened with him before. So, look, I've always said this whole thing was weird from the get-go with them courting him. And but, he signed, and I would think a man of his word, I would think he would stick around. I'd be surprised if he went and took an NFL job at this point. Unless things are going so badly at Chapel Hill or he's not getting what he was promised, and that gives him a reason to back out. But that would be the only reason I would think he would do so.
Okay. See, that was not hot takery enough. Like we were hot taking it in the opening segment. That was not hot takery enough, Nord.
I know.
Yeah. So we were hot taking it like a crazy person. You should have you go back and listen to this show. I was hot taking it left and right and keep dabbling and bebopping. We were cookieing all over.
Yeah.
What does that mean, Bill? Cookie?
No, I said we were Cookie-esque. Cookie was the king of hot takes when he was here.
His takes made no sense.
That's true.
His takes made no sense. It was his takes were beyond bizarre. They really were.
There's the cookie laugh.
There's the cookie laugh. Brian North is with.
In this day and age of hot takes, wouldn't it be a hot take when I don't agree with all the other hot takes and I take the boring?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yes, that's a contrarian's view. Sure.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Brian. We have. I know you follow the high school football. Are there any high school basketball teams in the Eastern North Carolina Channel 12, 94.3 The Game area that you think are pretty good?
Keep an eye on Washington. Washington and Farmville when they play, I think, would be the best games. But keep an eye on Washington. Yeah. David Allwald's done a real good job at Washington, kind of building that program. Came over from Okokoke, 5-6 years ago now, and has done a really nice job getting some really good players out there. So that's one that jumps out at me. Swansboro is still – I just remember when Swansboro was god-awful for so many years, but now they've become a nice little basketball factory. And so they're putting out some good players. So keep an eye on them. Their problem is that conference that they're in you're never quite sure. West Carteret was good for a few years. I think they've come back to the pack a little bit. Croatan's improved a little bit. So right along the coast there, basketball has kind of had a little resurgence. So let's see what Swansboro does this year. But those are the only ones that have caught my eye so far that they could make a little bit of run. Of course, Farmville is always going to be there. And then, in 1A, Washington County, they're getting ready to play in their brand new gym. The school just opened up outside of Plymouth, and now they're getting ready to christen their brand new gym this Friday night. I think against Bertie, so that ought to be a heck of a game. But keep an eye on Washington County.
There he is, Brian North. Don't forget, on the 9th, Fox Eastern North Carolina will have a game called the Super Bowl. We'll see how it does. Do you have to do any special programming with any of this?
I don't know. Now that I'm mornings, I don't think so.
Right?
I hope not, but you never know around here. Every now and then you'll get an edict to show up when you're not normally supposed to show up because the bosses think it's the best thing to do. And you know what I say? Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Whatever you need. Whoever writes the check,
what's interesting, when they do the Super Bowl, they bring in the main 11 p.m. anchors to host, to do the news after the Super Bowl. Which never made any sense to me at a TV station because you've got and they always put a show on after the Super Bowl.
Right.
So you have a whole hour of another show before you get to the news.
Yeah. You've got the long post game, then you've got this long 1 hour show, and so you're lucky to go on at 12:30. And you still do numbers, and I'll tell you the only reason you do numbers because people fall asleep with the Super Bowl still out of their TVs. That's about the only reason. I don't know if the news is driving them. So, but while they're sleeping, we're on telling them some fancy schmancy story we put together just for post Super Bowl at midnight.
Your colleague in sports is Luke Schwartz. He seems to be a PJ fan, so I'm going to give him a shout out. And we're going to see we can have you on before the Super Bowl again to promote it for the TV station on our little radio show, or we could have Schwartz on. So I'll let you make the call as the poobah, or we could have you both on. I don't care.
Yeah. Well, I'll always answer the phone when you call, but Luca does some good stuff on the radio and can provide some young person perspective if you're looking for that demographic, and he can make up some words and some phrases I've never heard of and still don't understand, which is how I know I'm getting old at this point. But Luke relishes the chance to expand and expound upon his knowledge in the talk radio format.
Well, let's plan for at least Schwartz to be on, and maybe yourself and Pilk. Mark that down before the Super Bowl in an effort to promote it for Fox.
Yeah,
we'll have them on the show. We've done that with the other TV station. We've always had somebody on from the TV station to promote the fact that the big game is on, the affiliate, the local affiliate. It's a little service we do here because we're just trying to shine a little light on the game.
Still trying to dig our hole out of 2008, man. I'm all about it.
There's no better place you can come for a mea culpa than the Patrick Johnson Show. I'm living proof of that.
The only thing that stinks about this, I wish, as much as I wouldn't actually pull for the Seahawks, sound like the Seahawks, would even make it cooler is if we get the West Coast fan perspective. It'd be nice if the Seahawks were to make the Super Bowl. Obviously, they didn't make the playoffs because Schwartz is a big Seahawks fan, being from the West Coast.
Is he really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that about him. Yeah. He's from the West Coast?
He's a Portland, Oregon kid, which is why he does
this
some weird
explains so much. Now, the picture has come a lot clearer now. Now that I didn't know that, I just thought the only thing I knew was Syracuse, which I found mildly charming, but a little obnoxious. Actually, a lot obnoxious. But now that you tell me he's from Portlandia, this whole picture has come clear in my eye.
Portlandia, and his parents are from Washington, so he's that Washington, Seattle wannabe guy from Portland. So, and went.
Do you like coffee?
Went to went to a hoity-toity D3 school, and then when he graduated from there, he did the 1 semester, 1 year at Syracuse.
So he pulled a Zarzer. He pulled a Bama Z. Went to Alabama 1 year after being at a D3 school, so he could claim he was from Alabama. That's what Zarzar did. Taylor Zarzer did that, and then and now That's what Schwartz has done. Boy, this whole thing. My level of all right. Debook Schwartz. Let's just stick with North here. I can't live for that kind of blasphemy on this radio program. All right, the great Brian North with us here. Always a treat. An award winner. Amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Amazing
Today's
stuff.
award-winning feature that I'm working on is L's Drive-In is opening back up, and I'm answering all your questions about what has changed in L's in 9 months. How's that for hard-hitting journalism?
Well, look, that's news you can use. People want a shrimp burger.
People can't get enough. Every time I post about L's on Facebook, it blows up, man. It's crazy.
That's a tasty shrimp burger. The building looks the exact same, doesn't it?
It is. It's taller. It's actually taller, but on the same footprint, same size, but they rearranged everything inside. They've got more room to do what they call their L's shuffle. So this is a hard-hitting expose that I'm editing right now to put on YouTube. 20 minutes now. 20 minutes of hard-hitting questions about why they only take cash and why they don't have parking lines. Oh, this is not your fluff story here, man. This is going to be some hard-hitting stuff to check out.
You're going to get them in trouble with the IRS over this cash thing. All right, Brian North with us here on the Patrick Johnson Show. Thank you, sir. Let us now go to Philip the Ref Pilkington with a 94.3 The Game Sports Flash Update, 2-minute drill, Pirate Report.
Thank you, P-Man. Starting in Pirate Athletics last night, it was a good night for the women's basketball team who knocked off Charlotte by a score of 72-65. The ladies will travel down to Houston and be back in action on Saturday when they take on the Rice Owls. The Cowboys have finished their interview with former Jets head coach Robert Saleh for their opening head coaching position. They have also asked the Eagles if they can interview their offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, who played for the Cowboys, became their quarterbacks coach in 2018, and then was the OC from 2019 through 2022 before they fired him. The Jets have completed a couple of interviews today as well with Steelers offensive coordinator Arthur Smith and Texans offensive coordinator Bobby Slovic. Few new entries have come out for the Daytona 500 this year. They include Justin Allgaier, who will field a car as part of Junior Motorsports. Yes, Dale Earnhardt Jr. will finally technically be a Cup Series owner. Also, 7-time champion Jimmy Johnson will drive for Legacy Motor Club, and 2017 champion Martin Truex Jr. will attempt to qualify for Tricon Garage. In sad news, Brewers' longtime broadcaster Bob Uecker passed away today at the age of 90. He was the primary broadcaster for 58 years. He was diagnosed with brain cancer back in 2023. That'll do it for your 94.3 The Game Sports Flash Update and Pirate Report. Can take a time out here on the Patrick Johnson Show. We'll be back with more on the other side.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
This holiday season, get the gift you really want at Greenville Toyota. It's our holiday trade-up. Drive a new Corolla, just $229 a month, or a new Tacoma, only $329 a month during the holiday trade-up at Greenville Toyota.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Everybody loves tiebreakers.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master. Let's go! Woo! Woo! Yeah! Football time!
Set the tone. Kyle, tie your shoes, tie your shoes. Yeah, good job.
Woo!
Grab a Pepsi Wild Cherry and get wild.
Unwrap a new Toyota for the holidays at Greenville Toyota. It's our holiday trade-up. Get a new Camry, $269 a month, or a new RAV4, $329 a month. Trade up and save at Greenville Toyota.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout eastern North Carolina. Get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
Sometimes you just don't know if you want to kiss him or slap him.
Ow!
Either way, he'd probably like it. The Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
So, we got a couple minutes here on the show, making way for the IGO Logan Zone, or the Logan IGO Zone, whichever you prefer. And we'll be back tomorrow at our normal time of 5 o'clock. Brian Mull talking hoops. Mark Miller talking his Philadelphia Eagles tomorrow. And Mark, of course, just coming off a 5th win for Personalities of the Year for their market. That's the 5th time they have won an NCAB, North Carolina Association of Broadcasters. Yeah, NCAB award. So congratulations to Mark and Laura.
Hey, 5 times
Mark
in a 6-year span, P-Man. This is like
pretty good.
Like a John
dynasty.
Wooden dynasty. This is not just a normal
Yes.
dynasty. This is like Wooden.
It's a dynasty. Yeah. So we'll do a little Hold My Beer tomorrow, I'm told. I'm looking forward to this. So Bob Uecker, as Pilk mentioned, longtime Brewers broadcaster, has died. And he was still doing some games, up into his late 80s, maybe even some last year. But Ueck was.
I don't think he was traveling.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. He'd gotten to the point where he wasn't traveling, and he was doing, but he was still doing some games, and he was primarily doing radio. And there was a great quote that Randy Capps, my buddy, put up that Uecker had. I want to make sure I get this right, but. This was a pretty good, I thought, and it kind of talks about our business a little bit. Let's see here. It's Bob Uecker that said, on TV, people can see it. On radio, you've got to create it. The whole theater of the mind. So he was a, baseball broadcaster. The thing I always do like about radio is that aspect of, conversation and creating things. So Bob Uecker, R.I.P. He's no longer with us, dead at the age of 91. Thanks to Brian North for being with us here. Boy, this just flew by today, didn't it? Great to have North on with News Channel 12, or News 12. And thanks to Philip the Ref Pilkington. Phil's going to head over and take care of things for Logan and Igo. We'll be back with you tomorrow, 5 o'clock. Patrick Johnson Show, of course, in the morning on Talk of the Town for an Open Line Friday. So it'll be a lot of fun. See you then.